Hello YouTube, it's had quite a number of requests since I made my hardware table with Envirotex for the little stool that was seen in the background. It's actually just a stool made of 1.5" ABS fittings that are available at your local home hardware center. If you're from Canada, if you're from the States, I'm sure you can find 1.5" ABS almost anywhere. It's very economical. I happen to have acquired a tractor seat. I live in a rural community, so they're quite easy to come by. You can get them yourself. As far as the stool portion goes of what you sit on, you could use pretty much anything you want. I did incorporate a swivel into it, so you can spin it around. It doesn't move up and down if it's on a standard Lazy Susan. And the ABS is incredibly strong. I've got some quite large friends that you will never topple this thing over unless they've been goofing around or carrying on. But as far as the actual structural integrity of this stool, it's incredibly strong. Now you'll notice in the upright legs that I do have the connectors in there, and that's only because I actually made the stool originally too tall and I had to cut a section out and join it together. The stool I'm going to make for you here today is not going to have those extra fittings in it. So now the foot rail is optional. What I'm going to show you right now is not going to include the foot rail. I don't know if I'm going to put one on because I've yet to see anyone really use it, just because it's not that high off the ground. It's about 24 inches, I'll confirm that. Overall height to the seat level, not the top of the ABS. So this is my little ABS bar stool. I think it's kind of cool, economical. Looks a little smaller in the video from what I'm seeing here, but as you can see, my video that I'd made this table before, and I've got one extra fitting there that we can show in case I bugger one up. So we'll see. This is what we're going to do and make this. I have all the parts out. This is what you need to make the base. So I have 4 main legs at 15 1/4 inches, and this is all 1.5" standard ABS. It's available anywhere. I have 8 pieces that are 4 1/4 inches long at the top there, and I have 8 pieces at 1.25". I have 8 standard T-fittings, and I have 8 standard elbows. So what I recommend to do now is, because this is all going to be glued together, is we're going to do a dry fit first, so we can see all the parts here. So let's get busy and do a dry fit, get it level, and we can mark up all the ABS as to where it's going to go. I'm going to take up all the stickers and everything first, so it'll be ready for paint and a top after that. So let's do a dry fit. Okay, all I'm doing now is dry fitting the fittings. Do not put any glue on at this point, just because that makes it easier to adjust and get it square, and then you can mark out the fittings where they attach to each other, and then it makes it a lot easier when you glue them together. Then you know that your angles are going to be right for the upright legs. So I've already got started the top part of the stool. Just put the 1.25" pieces that we had cut here, insert them together, because you know that the legs are going to be pointing down. And this is only just dry, just to go together, because then you have to tap everything together. Now this is approximate, that if you need to move these you can, because once you glue these joints together you only have a few seconds to get it right, and it goes rock solid. You have to throw them out if they don't work. So that's why I'm only dry fitting things together. So now we can do the base. So we're going to need 4 T's. Need some of these. Now you can put them together any way you want. It's not really that big of a deal, because they're all cut the same size. T's together, and you can be as rough with this stuff as you want, because it will not break. You can take this out and take a jackhammer to it, and nothing's going to happen. Now this is just me being picky. You will notice on the T fitting here that there's just the way the the angle comes down, like where the bottom outlet comes out. I just try and keep them consistent if possible. So now we got some elbows that are required. Now you know on a base that the legs are going to go up approximately. So we'll put it like that. Right there. It's just approximate. It doesn't really matter at this point in time which way they're going to go. And you know, you will get some twisting and shifting. That's fine. Just roughly tap it together. Now do this last piece last, because then you can just slide it on just like that. Oh, here. There. That in there. Make sure everything's kind of half-assed together. But the thing of it is, everything will still move. Now it gets a little pokey at this time. You can, but everything will still move because, like I said before, once you glue it together, it ain't coming apart. Well, it will come apart, but it'll come apart with a hacksaw, and that's it. So now the tricky part is just to try and maneuver everything together, because these top parts will move as well. Now, twist things out if you wish, because the whole thing will move, and that's where you just got to take the level to it and put it together. But essentially, that is the base right there. Like, there's really nothing to it, and it's incredibly strong. Like, it's incredible once you get everything glued together. And I'll show you how to mark the fittings. Just going to tap this together until it gets perfectly square, and then I'll show you how to mark the fittings and how you can make it effective to glue them together, and it'll reassemble just in the way once you get it perfectly dry fitted together. It'll reassemble perfectly once you glue it. One thing you'll notice is with a T-fitting, you can see when you get closer up here, where we talked about before, keeping these consistent. Keep them consistent at the top and at the bottom, like so. It almost like you can see it making a hoop around. And that's only for the reason is it is off-center just a wee bit, and it'll make the whole thing just a little bit unplumb. So all I've done here is just tapped it into place. I have not glued it yet. And then I'm just putting my square on it to make sure that everything is for the most part square. And at the end of the day, folks, this is not a Chippendale piece of furniture. It's ABS plumbing pipe. That's all that it is. It's in every house in this continent anyway, so it's and it's not meant for this. This is just a sort of a home hack. You can put it on here, see that everything is relatively square. Are you going to get it perfect? Probably not, because the whole thing, once you start to glue the final pieces together, it will flex. So this is, it seems square, sturdy, right across the top. It looks all right. So now we're just going to mark off the fittings. I'm quite content with it. That if this is the way it was, if it was fully glued, I'd be happy. I did take the stool inside on a perfectly flat floor because my garage floor is not very plumb. So I took it into the hardwood floor, and she sits very perfect. And then if we have to shim it up out here, then that's something you have to deal with all the time. So I'm just going to show you how to mark off the fittings, and then we can go ahead and glue it together. Just to show you how I mark the fittings, I do have to apologize for the video quality of this and the bad angles and stuff, but I'm just recording it on my iPad, and if anyone knows, it's not the easiest to put around. And get it just the right way you want. This is just a close-up shot of the base, but you'll notice on every fitting that you'll buy at any hardware store will have these marks going across. So all I'm doing I'm not going to show this for everyone, but I'm just putting just a jiffy marker, just putting it on there. Now I'm also putting a line across the straight piece of pipe just to show it the depth that you need to go. It should be fully seated, but it's just in case that it's not when it makes it plumb and level on the floor, because there might be something that might be a 1/4 inch off the actual seat of the base here, this pipe that's going inside. So all you need to do is make sure that that line is bang on with this mark that is up here that you're putting on here. So as soon as you put that on there, you can rotate the pipe for a couple of seconds, and then as long as you line up all of these marks that you have in here, it'll be perfect when you put it all together. Now when I say perfect, like I said, this bench is going out in my garage just like the red one with the other stool is. I'm not overly concerned about it being... This is not something I would not think that you would put in your home. This is for my garage and just for banging around out in the garage and when buddies come over. It's not a big deal at all. But just for the sake of showing how you would actually mark that and know, just to make it level, as long as you get it 99.9% exactly on those marks so they line up again after you've put the glue on, it'll be level when you're done. And you also do this on the top portion as well, and for the vertical pipes going up and down. This is a leg here, you can't see it, but this is how we'll do it. So I'm going to mark off all the rest of the fittings. And for the top portion, it's a lot easier to do than marking up those bottom pieces because all the components are within on the inside that are all concealed. So all you have to do, sorry if the focus is a little off, folks, but all you have to do is make a mark somewhere on here. It will be covered by the actual seat that goes on. Because the marks, you'll notice that these marks will not line up, just because of the way that you've put the fittings together and the different angles that you have. But if you put your own mark on there, doesn't matter how thick or whatever it is, you can... That doesn't focus worth a crap. That's fine. You'll be able to know the fittings because you're going to do them one at a time, but you'll be able to put them on. Doesn't matter where you put it because it's all going to be covered. All you have to do is just match up those two lines again, bang on, and you'll be fine. All I'm using for the glue to put them together is some ABS Solvent Cement. Pretty standard stuff available at any home hardware store. I just say that because I work there, so I'm a little biased. Comes with a dabber that you put it on, but keep in mind you only have a few seconds to use this stuff before it gets rock hard. And all I do, I can't do both at the same time, is just run that dabber on the inside of here, but not too much where it goops out onto the pipe. Where you put it in, the last two sections that you do, this piece is all put together. You can see that that has all been glued together. So the only joints I have left to do are this one and this one, because then I can put the whole piece just right on there like that. So I'm going to try and show that, but the thing of it is I have to be so quick in doing this that I don't know if I can, but I will try. Just hang on a second. Alright. Like I said, you don't need an awful lot. I'm going to try and do both at the same time. You've got to flex them a little bit so you can... That's all you need. Got to do both sides, so I got to be quick. I don't care if it's out of focus or not, but I got to be quick to make sure that it gets in there, and you have like seconds to get it to fit. So I got to move the camera. Hang on. Sorry about that, folks, but I'll just put this blanket back up so you're not confused with the background, but I had to kind of get out there. But as you can see, the marks all line up just as I had placed them before, so it should be 2/3 level by the time I'm done. So I just wanted to show you that that whole base is now completely glued and welded together, that it is not coming apart, and these are at the angle that I require. So this is a critical part to keep it square and level. It will flex a little bit by the time you put it back together, because you'll never get it perfect because it is ABS pipe, but now we'll put these pieces in and we'll do the top, and it should work out okay. Okay, now I'm just going to start gluing up the top. That's the pieces where there's no elongated at the bottom. It's strictly and I'll show you how I line up the marks. So just dab it in there. Hopefully you can see, but put that in there, and you got to be quick. Hopefully you can see the marks. And then just put them in and just line them up. That's the original line that you made up there, and that should make it put this at the right angle that you need. So I'm just going to do the rest, and hopefully that turned out. Alright, top is all put together. Angles of the legs should be fine. You can see that around here just by marking the top, and I've marked off the position that it fits the best on the top by putting a mark there, and let me find it, a mark right there, because sometimes, like I said, where the centers of the T's are off-centered a little bit, this is the best way it fits. Now, is it going to fit absolutely tickety-boo and perfect? No, but you gotta, once you glue up the bottom portions here, you can tap it into place, and it should be 2/3 square, which I know for a lot of carpenters out there and stuff, 2/3 square never cuts it, but when you're building it out of this stuff, and for what I'm going to be using it for, 2/3 is just great. So now we're going to put the top on, and we have the base complete. And there you have the completed base. I had to put the top on. The legs you can adjust and bend and contort into shape, of which seem to keep the base quite level. Now you got a pretty strong stool, so it's not coming apart. This thing's as strong as anything, so I did that just to demonstrate its ultimate durability, just by giving it a light kick. So, but no, it's should be good to go. But the base, it's all put together, and it's one solid unit now. So, sorry the video's so crap, but it is what it is. So, there we go. Now I think this one I'm going to make the reverse. I'm going to paint the stool red, or not the stool, the seat red. And then I'm going to be keeping the base black the way it is, so then my other stool that I have there, it's got a black seat and red base. It's just going to be reversed to that. So, it's a little cold outside to be painting plastic, so it's a little easier to paint the seat. So, we'll go ahead and we'll make the wood and the swivel, and we'll be good to go. For the two bases that you need, the one that is 8.5 inches square, they've been cut to size. That's the one that actually gets mounted right to the very top here. And the other piece at 6.5 inch square is what gets mounted to the underside of the seat. And the only thing difference is that there's a swivel that is like a Lazy Susan type of swivel that separates the two. And I'll show that. So all I'm going to do now is check the corners here, cut them off, and then round them over just so it doesn't have a sharp appearance. And I'll show them when they're done. And then we can install the 6.5 or the 8.5 inch square on top of the stand, like the pre-made base, and then we can work out how we're going to mount the seat. Because all I'm doing here is just marking out the corner so you can put like a slight chamfer on it, and I have my tri-square set up at 1 inch. So if we come in 1 inch, sorry, you couldn't see that, 1 inch there, and you only need it on one side, because if the thing is square, then it's going to be 1 inch on the other side. Put that on there like that. Put that in there, 1 inch. Doop. Line it up with the mark you made. Boop. Now, all I'm going to do is cut off these pieces here, slightly round the edges here, and then you're good to go. They can get a lick of paint, and you're all set. Alright, I got the corners squared at that 1 inch, and all that does is just takes the edge off, and I used 3/4 inch MDF, of which MDF is very easy to work with. If you're going to use, if for whatever reason you're going to make a bench or a stool like this and leave it outside, I would not use MDF because it soaks up water. It's not good, but it's a very easy material for an indoor material. It's dry, and plus I had it sitting around the shop, so that's what I'm going to use, and we'll get things prepped up and paint if necessary. Okay, I have the piece anchored to the top, and it's square. This is the 8.5 inch piece, and it just comes to the outside edges, as you can see here. Like I said, it's not perfect. I'm just going to pre-drill the holes, and then I'm going to give it a coat of paint. I'm going to use a... Where's the lens? I'm just going to use a countersink. Don't know if you can see that. Just quickly mark out the holes, and then I can use a countersink, and then I can drill straight through this into the ABS, and that's going to make a solid surface for the stool itself, like the actual seat to sit on. So to let you know, that's square. Just going to pre-drill it, and then I can paint this one. Now, what I found is that this one should be the same color as whatever your base is. So whatever you color the base, this should be painted the same color as that, and then it matches when it goes to the portion of the seat. So just going to pre-drill that and give it a coat of paint, and then come back. Now, this is the Lazy Susan that we're going to put together those 2 pieces of MDF wood. That's all that does. It's rated for, I believe, 500 pounds, and it's a 6-inch Lazy Susan. And that's all you need for that, and that's what will make the stool swivel. And I'll show you how that goes on. Works pretty good. Just might give it a quick lick of paint, and it'll work fine. And it should be good. Okay, I gave the 6.5 inch square piece of MDF, I've mounted it to the bottom of the one side of the Lazy Susan, so should be okay, because then all I do is then mount this to the black piece, of which I have there. And for mounting the seat, I've drilled a hole so the bolt will clear, and it will spin freely within that hole as you happen to revolve. So that's just a little bit hole. I think that's a 5/8 hole, and I'm using a 1/2 inch carriage bolt to mount the seat to this piece here, of which I have a 1/2 inch hole drilled in here. You can see that's going to go through. Seat's going to go on here. That's going to go through. So, alright, I have the seat mounted. Have a couple washers in here, and it just goes through the seat, as you can see here. Painted up the seat, looks pretty good, nice red. Now the only thing that'll protrude through the top, and as you can see it looks a little butch, but that's fine, so that's where the nut is going to sit for here. That'll go right through, and then all you have to do is anchor these points here to this, and then it'll be good. So I'm going to do that and show you the completed project. Okay, all I've done here is I've taken the bottom base here, and I've used some 1/4 inch lag screws. They go from here down into the ABS, which will give a really good foundation for this stool. So, and then as you can see, that's all there is to it. Put it down here so we can see it. There you go. One stool made out of ABS that swivels. Incredibly strong. Get my other one here. There we go. I thought they turned out alright. I don't know if I'm going to put a foot rail on the black and red one, the new one I just made, just because I don't think it's really high enough to get used. So, but no, they both seem to be okay, and they both swivel. There you go. One ABS stool. Now keep in mind, folks, I told you I don't want any comments saying about how shoddy the workmanship is. This isn't Chippendale furniture we're making. We're making ABS furniture here. So, it's just something that I use out in my garage, my man cave, and for sitting around my table that you can see that I have done with all my tools and crap and stuff sitting around. It'll be just fine for any of my buddies that come over, and that's all that it is. So there you go. Enjoy. And if anyone has any comments that they'd like to make on it, to how to make this better, I'm quite open to that. So by all means, carry on, folks, and enjoy.